They can also touch the enemy. Turn your head and look. Just say out. The next person is you. He was running behind when he suddenly jumped up. And then it came out like the sky was falling. The top of Nin Trung's head down. Nin Trung, ultra-fast reaction, immediately jumped to the side to avoid. This foot of the main law kicked down the land. Let the ground be trampled to pieces. Looking at the power of this one is amazing. Uttered this. Hey, the last one doesn't count as submission anymore, does it? She glanced at him smiling. If you talk to me, you are. Pay attention to the person in front. Behind him. Remote ancient gas. There was a noise behind him. Until it comes out of his mouth. Ning Trung just discovered the appearance of the enemy. There was no noise on the road. Threaten people to death. Long ago try Ryong gas open big mouth screaming. Food, food, food. Then swing your hand towards Nin Trung. Hit down. The enemy saw the enemy coming. There is no avoidance. But directly turn around. Turn the battlefield. Animals are dominated by food desire, SAO. Genetic study of the greatest wonder of the 2,500 years. But you only get to this level. The monster's hand hit in front of him, despite dodging at breakneck speed. But Nin Trung still has his nails flattened across his face, too hurt. At the same time, his lawyer also stabbed the enemy. The monster was hit by the injured man. There was a fire burning in him. Burning it doesn't bother to scream. Obnoxious. If we were outside, we'd have succeeded. I don't care. Not concerned. Nin Trung on the face where the monster hit the wound. There are countless cracks now. The tarpaulin barrier there also fell out a little. He raised the high school to raise the enemy. Calmly replied, "You can't beat me outside." Then throw the enemy's body to the side. Look at the rest. Next name. The rest of the prisoners saw it unconsciously. Take a few steps back. Now someone is screaming. Take a good look at the bloody dragon fruit. The attack of the visual wonder was effective. We just need to lock him up. For a person to have the same power, equivalent to the city wonder, find a chance. Give him a shot. Then we can turn the situation around. I heard him yelling at one of the prisoners. Stand up immediately. I came to arrest his feet. You're looking for an opportunity. This man is a Lun slave named Li Fangzun. Is the reincarnation of Long Bi. I don't hold any major yet. He's both beautiful. The next chapter is to see you. According to his law enforcement actions, there are countless small rocks flying up on the land, towards Nin Trung. Nin Trung saw that and laughed coldly. I just want to keep my feet shut. You think I am. But before he could finish, he suddenly shut up. Because he doesn't know when. Two arms appeared. When he doesn't notice. They held his head tightly. Forced to turn to the right. On the right. At this point, the four heads on the body appeared again. Countless eyes. I see the head is back. He was willing to laugh. The four eyes face each other. You see the person opposite you is a traitor. The face immediately dropped. Just look at the eyes on the enemy. His body immediately turned to stone. In the distance, the angel of war is transformed by three evils. If you see that, you will quickly carry the axe. Your head I want. Nin Trung saw the enemy coming. There's no fear. On the contrary, he laughed happily. Go get it yourself if you want. When he finished speaking, his head was cut off by the enemy. This person is the one who has been identified by the past in the 100 items. I saw Ning Trung being chopped off. He's extremely excited, laughing successfully. But the prisoners around them weren't. My head has just been cut off. They quickly moved away from him. He couldn't understand the people asking, "What do you guys mean?" "We're all hiding from what we're doing right now from 4 directions." Suddenly, countless iron chains appeared, tightly wrapped around Nin Trung's body. Very fast Nin Trung body. It's covered in a shield of iron chains. On the roof of Lao, there are also 5 chains. "Prepare to fly down." The old man saw that and immediately shouted. Fast forward to choosing a name. The devil died. Pick a junkie in his place. Young people hear the words of the past. It's extremely confusing. The devil died for something. Just finished. There was a prisoner behind him. Give him a chance to react. He was beaten through his body. Suddenly attacked by his accomplices, the young man could not understand. "I am ashamed of what the fuck you are doing. This man is the Tiger King. Excellent school is the zoological." He looked at the young man smiling. "You're late. I didn't go through a rebellion before, so I don't know. If Nin Trung dies in heaven, God will choose an unlucky man to replenish his destiny. I don't like betting, so just bother the lower classes with that empty space. When finished, throw the enemy directly towards the iron chains above Lao's house." The young man was caught in an iron chain. It doesn't stop screaming. "Shame on your animal. I killed your mother." The scream didn't last too long. After a while, the young Kier was completely covered in iron chains. The scream also disappeared from the other side. The left is still there, endlessly holding the axe, the iron chain covering Nin Trung. But his attack. There's absolutely no way. Through the Kier iron chain shield. Nin Trung is inside. It is currently in a state of being revived. His head is slowly gathering. The 7 flames of his life. 2 tops because of previous battles that consumed. Now 1 more has been extinguished. Follow the Kier youth, dragged away by Lao's shackles. The 3rd fire of life has just been extinguished by Nin Trung. It's now lit up again. It's not about switching to another fire. After a while, the eyes opened again. 2 of his demons at the same time, sealed by the past in prison. Slowly breaking the seal to escape. After a while, they are completely out of bondage. Then it turned into 2 tortoises. Nin Trung direction. Fly to the front of the iron covering Nin Trung. It quickly fits in. They just came back. Then Nin Trung immediately deployed Ra. The devil is raging. Follow him through this magic. There was a lot of toxic gas coming out of it. To see this poisonous gas with a sinking face. Sao changed to review then Sao. The prisoners around didn't understand. It's hard to see the gas coming. This blue gas, why does it look like a demon slayer? The enemy really is it. People be careful. This is the poison of Lao Lao, the extremely aggressive demon. The prisoners around. If you hear that, quickly jump to the distance. Avoid after a while. Nin Trung's body is hidden. Appeared inside the center. Toxic smoke. He's now in an epidemic state. The entire body is covered in blue armor. By the poison of the devil. He has an emotionless face. Start calculating the opponent's remaining strategy. I lost my fighting strength. There were 2. Taken away to replenish the fate of a name. These prisoners compared to last time. It's much more advanced. They've all learned how to work together. But we don't hold hands. Then you're still hopeless. While Nin Trung was looking ahead. Then the 3 demons quietly approached behind. He wants to use one when he's not paying attention. The axe finished him again. But Nin Trung quickly released the body. Turn your head and look at him. Inside the toxic smoke, there's a battle sound coming out immediately. At this moment, the lake suddenly realized something uttered. There's something wrong. Then turn your head to the past. He also found out about it. Toxic swelling screen stop LAN raw. Poison does not appear. It's much slower than last time. Just now, too. Obviously, this Nin Trung can hide in a favorable position. Then use the power of drought to suck all the moisture out of the air. From there, 9 of us. But he didn't. Instead, he's coming in like a reckless schmuck. Let's surround him and kill him. It doesn't make any sense. Unless it's for some reason. It's impossible not to do that. While they are thinking, there was another prisoner in the back asking. I've wanted to ask you guys ever since. You mentioned the rebellion last time. You've tried to escape before. At that time, there was also a master who rushed into heaven. Turn around and look at the enemy calmly. It wasn't the last time there was violence. It was because the previous dragon suddenly died. When the other person heard it, he was confused. The lake is also talking now. The 4 statues of the great tons, they all have their own land. The fake turtle, I don't know. The land of the white tiger is the home of traders. The land of Chu Tuk is the fire of the great ton. The land of dragon fruit is the pioneering Lao heaven that we're locked up in. Thanks so when the dragon dies in a battle, or when new and old dragon fruits are handed over, the wind will fall. Our oppression to the lowest level. The power will recover about 810. Full heyday. Last time we had too much. Dragon death battle. Nin Trung received the ritual of enlightenment to start a rebellion. Unfortunately, that time we met the most powerful dragon in history so far. So get beaten up for extremely tragic, haha. When the young man heard it all, it was hard to understand. Wait for such a big difference. You tricked us into taking risks with you. Lao's oppression of us is still. It's hard to say. Do we still have 4 parts of power? Of the heyday or not? The oppressed spirit cannot be used. The fighting strength is far worse than before. Where do you think there is hope this time? It's now suddenly speaking up because the mechanism. The young man opened his mouth and looked at the SAO mechanism. He nods his head. That's right, Disaster Priest. The same city has a flourishing relationship. The priest was injured. The city will also be greatly affected. About this, you can refer to evil and evil. Hong Ha Theo. The fate of Ning Trung. They don't stop being consumed by us. The oppression of Lao Heaven pioneer with us. It will also get weaker. Until we can use our tricks. In an unrestricted way. More than 2 years ago, fate that the court used to supplement the 4 statues. It's all used by the mind. Nin Trung still has no chance to replenish fate. Now he has lost the power on his body. We have also just spent the last bit of time. This also means that we just need to keep spending 2 more of his fates. Invisible chains on top of our heads. It can be completely loosened. Inside at the same time, Ning Trung has now dealt with 3 evil. He looked at the prisoners in the distance and whispered. Such a long time. Maybe that's enough for the prisoners. Think of a way to deal with me and go. This time we will deal with the prisoners. Have a worse foundation than before. Think about here. Inside the poison, countless chains flew out. The tiger always pays attention to the movement here. When he saw that the enemy was mobile, he immediately shouted, "Be careful of the chains there." The prisoners heard that. Quickly, each person develops the body. Avoid the iron chain, can't catch AI. But shoot out around. Wrap the cages tightly around. In fact, this is the main goal of Ning Trung. After the iron chain wrapped up the prison, he then casually yelled. According to his voice, the shackles start to move around. That's why Lao people rotate according to the speed. One fast at a time. Take Nin Trung as the center. High-speed swivel shackle. It's no different than tongues. The sharp little knife rotated all over the school. The old man saw that and immediately bent down. You can't stay down for long. He realized that this is not the way. He quickly observed the movement of the chains. Time. The gap quickly jumped up above Lao's house. The people around me also noticed the problem. Looming and screaming. The speed of the chains is getting faster and faster. Keep going like this, then we won't be able to hold out much longer. Don't jump up. While they were screaming, the past has jumped on high. He jumped up not long ago. The tiger also chased him. He quickly moved closer to the past. Nin Trung. It is also fun for our master to play. If it is the new Nin Trung, he'll never give us a chance to guess. Where is his body? Say it. Has he not seen his opponent for too long? Should become self-aggrandizement. Or he's got other plans. The past simply replied, we don't care about any of this. If he wants to play, let's play with him. It's just a few bulletproof steels. At the bottom, there are still people coming out. I want to jump up. It doesn't work if it continues like this. We won't be able to hold out much longer. The rest of the prisoners just jumped at the chance. In the middle of the gas, there is also movement. Inside, there were chains flying out. The prisoners are a little weak. He jumped out and was caught by them. He looked around and counted for a moment. I feel the number is not very different. According to his voice, the prisoners were tied up in the air. Immediately pulled back inside the case. Those who practice VI Cow run up a little early. When I saw that, my face wrinkled. He thought for a moment before speaking out. The queen has been arrested. That was there, is to screen for names with basic abilities. Not up to standard. But there are tricks. It's also a fire. He just talked about it. Then the sound of the sandalwood. It's too dangerous. When I heard this sound, I was amazed. And the wind is just struggling right now. Crawl up from the bottom. He was almost caught by the iron chain. I looked at him in amazement and asked, "You're not under arrest." "Wait, how did you get out?" "Just steal fast responsible." I found him lying on the ground. Those chains don't reach people. Then we just lie there. Slowly crawl back to Lao's house and get up. Right now, inside, there's a body flying out. There are countless poisons on you. But you can safely run to the people. I see people flying out, one of the prisoners asked. "Queen, what's the situation inside?" The queen replied that 3 people were killed. The man who was caught with me was poisoned. Can't be saved anymore. This is the true incarnation of the locust plague. It's called pants. The inside is poisonous. Nin Trung looked at the human skin on his hand. I understand now. The principle of the Middle East is to turn myself into a human demon, using their own flesh and blood to feed the insects. Symbiosis with it SAO. On the nearby side, a prisoner looked at the crowd. The past thinking, I'm afraid they still won't do it. After provoking us to revolt together. These Sun Tzu men are closing in first. If they feel that they have stabbed Lao, they must follow Lao. Under the pressure of Ning Trung, these guys aren't as strong as we are. Because to save your life, you can't stop risking your life. I will fight you to the death. To create opportunities for them to benefit SAO, it's nausea. The others must have noticed. They are also suffering. No one will stand out who led the fight against Nin Trung. Sorry for the wonder. And the 3 people who opened this up. You all refuse to lead, so let me go. Thinking of this, he raised his hand, jerking down a hair on his head. Long hair, ultra-fast speed raw. It quickly turned into an ROI. You see his movements. They all look back. This old man is the Four Veins Feng Celestial. And this one who covers his head is a rose-tinted devil. The young man saw the people looking back. Immediately raise your head and shout. You guys only say it once. Waiting like that. If internal friction continues, this rare opportunity, it will be wasted in vain. I know what you're worried about. Me too, but to show my will. Next, we're going to give it our all. Be a leader. Immediately swung ROI to Nin Trung. The first ROI is to determine the position of the opponent. After being identified, then he's waving his hands endlessly. Very fast, there's been 10 ROIs hitting Nin Trung in the case. Nin Trung is inside the case, softly swinging up the lance in front of you. All the attacks of young Kier, they're all blocked easily. Right now, there's another attack behind him. Threw the fire and hit it down. The young man saw that and laughed. The queen is out. That's right, the last trick. It's because the emperor stopped the locusts from attacking. The young man saw someone taking action, then it keeps pulling down the hairs. If that's the case, let's light another fire. Miss Theo young man frantically attacked. The top. The queen did not stop using bullets. Another prisoner. Standing in a dark corner watching. He's a great student. Is a fairy tale. Look at the situation in front of you, he mused. Ra must destroy this poison first. Thought for a moment. He put his hand up and cut his wrist. Then draw it on your shoulder with your own fresh blood. On my forehead and on my palms. Next, I quickly jumped under the school. Finally, take out the pen and start writing. The writing has just been completed. Poisonous bones have also shown signs of thawing. After a little while, the bone was almost completely dissolved. He seems to be struggling right now. Against the exploits of the emperors. When he saw the bones melt, he was amazed. That bone is so poisonous that it's blown away. At the top high. How many heads off the ground? Ask the person next door. You didn't do it yourself. I heard him ask. Calm down and wait a little longer. The man that Ning Trung injured and killed. Not enough. On the other side, a prisoner sitting in a corner watching the battle. In my hands, there are people flying out. He kept asking himself. Act or not act? Act or not act? This person is a quadriceps. He sat there and asked himself. His body after a while. They have also become complex paper FLIs. The past on one side sees this situation. Then speak up to the prostitute. Like to be enlightened, quickly retract the memory. I like to hear that. It's hard to understand. Turn your head to look at the enemy. Why did you stare at him with sharp eyes? It's because the Zhu spies are out. The bottom of Nin Trung is constantly dodging against the onslaught of the royals. At this time, the paper people were transformed by Shi Shan, also down, joined the battle. When he wasn't paying attention, he flew over and put it on him. Just like that, one over the other. Nin Trung's body very quickly was covered by countless paper people. In the end, there's only one piece of paper left. After covering Nin Trung, the paper man immediately exploded. This young man is finished. When I saw the explosion, I laughed. I have killed another Ning Trung. Lao is next door. His face was not a little happy, and he burned down. Don't rejoice too early. The past is not far away, the face is down. Ning is starting to get serious. He just finished. Then the sound of Nin Trung echoed. Toxic ear thin lie. Follow this sound of him. It immediately turns into a swamp. Fast forward to covering the entire school. Move the scene to Jeju. Fan Ki, after chasing the sun yin, ran out of smoke. It's now back to normal. After asking for a moment, you just remembered Ra. I was right before I went to Jeju. My father and I used the term to watch through one. I am in charge of the Liao city of Henan province. The old man is in charge. There is also a place called Oasis. It also has a disaster-level strategy. Have intentions with us. I've never been here before. Mr. President, you feel. Which ancient city in Yunzu is likely to be chosen by the Kier Sun Yin crazes to be the base for the festival of the evil god? Vietrach heard that. He stroked his chin thinking. After a while, he came up with the idea that the price must be to restore the Ba Emperor. Ancient gods left legends at the price. It's the most appropriate place to hold large-scale ceremonies. When Fan Kai heard it, he nodded. I understood, and then I pulled out a flute from my chest. Then quickly put it in your mouth and blow it hard. The flute just came out. The falcon immediately flew in from the distance. It landed very quickly in front of you. I just climbed on the back of a bird. I just turned my head to look at Vietrach onions. Let's go. It's hard to understand that. Point to yourself and ask again. Wait, I have to go too, he grinned. That's right. Master Ching Shou also left, with the old man to fight. Sir, you want to be indifferent. Even though we don't have a problem. But the city of Kai Shou has 7 such large damage. 5 of your works. You can't escape responsibility. If there are 5, you can't make valuable work. In this Hainan rebellion, wait for it to be over when the prize is awarded. If you listen to the Vietnamese, stop him with your hand. Stop talking and let's go. Fan Kai achieved the goal. I laughed so much, it was so good, hee. Move the scene to the Liao city. 2 people, Qin Yang and Bai Zhu at this time. Extremely tense face looking away. Because in front of them, the cannons are slowly collapsing. Extremely incomprehensible frequency uttered. The lost cannon collapsed, and it was done by AI. I don't see anyone here doing anything. In the head, he quickly remembered when he was talking to her. Don't worry, I'm absolutely certain of the power of this. You can roll it up, and it won't break. If it's broken, why? Then prove that you did not protect me well. I was killed by Gao. It's all about what happened. Should not be subtracted. Before starting the eardrum, Lin calculated a hexagonal. It's clear that there's no harm in humans, and it's harmless. But my prayer here, he was right. And over there is. When he thought about it, the man next to him asked. The cannon was destroyed. The ambush killed Hai and Vu. It can't form anymore. We have to do something now. The 2 eyes wrinkled in deep thought. After a while, he turned to look at Bak Kui. Go tell the tiger. The day we used up all the trump cards. He had not moved before the Lord came down. This world, someone has to go to the top. Pay the code of the Great Tun. Let's prepare the Christmas ritual. When you finish listening, you can nod. The next 2 disappeared in their own place. My part goes into action. On the middle kneel. After the stray cannon broke, the coffin also fell. The body inside also fell out. Look at the head from inside the casket. The devil is incomprehensible. It's not that we kill. Strictly nod your head. I know maybe his accomplices have overstepped your ban. By cursing murder and neutralizing regeneration. Let him be reborn somewhere else. On his knees, he asked, can we find his location? This guy's trick is very good. Give him enough time to arrange. It's going to be a huge hassle. Slight in the eyes of the dynamic again. Appearance can be, but it takes some time. The wind station right now. The cannon has just collapsed. Both of his legs immediately recovered. The balance of destruction and rebirth is broken. The old turtle Kier broke those copper poles. While he's happy when his legs are back. The recovery doesn't know where it came from. Jumped in front of him. Just landed. He then raised his hand towards the wind, shouting, "Use your body for a bit." Fong, when he saw the lake, he immediately picked up the sword. Rush to attack. His recovery did not evade his attack. Give him a sword in his chest. The wind did not expect that. The enemy does not shy away. Not in time to react. He was restored with his hands and started again. If you catch the enemy, laugh. Extremely ferocious. Assimilate, but have not yet assimilated. His face was cut in half. You are the one who dances in the body. How many times have I died and still want to mess up? You can't retreat properly. The recovery gritted his teeth and said, "Don't answer." Then the body directly explodes on the spot. Fresh blood splashed, wiping away the blood on her cold, smiling face. Bravery is nowhere to be found, but the air is not small. Suddenly, his eyes widened a little. Look at the wind station. My leg is healed. I see the enemy looking up at me. He pointed to the side and said, "The old man's body was probably in that direction. You can go over there and meet them. This guy is my prey. Don't put your hand in it." Don T wait for the enemy to respond. Immediately disappeared on the spot, chasing the tiger. The wind station looked at his body and he was afraid. A teenager is a bad boy. On this side, strictly Hoa is constantly increasing the scope. How to dynamic present to find the whereabouts of Qin Tianjiang. Kneel on one side watching. In the heart of appreciation. The city now covers the entire city. This guy is really talented. After a while, she stopped raising her head. The devil saw that and immediately asked, "I found it. Seriously, I found it." In the southeast, in a yard, there's a tree full of bodies. Avalokitesvara is in the Ghost Academy. Right now, in my heart, it's rising. It's annoying, although there was early data. Strategists will mess up the plan. Tight so, but the strong oppressed me. That we can't even send out intelligence. It's still out of control. He just went. Just arranged for 72 to announce the cover-up. Around the academy. After the layout is done. He just went inside the house. Not only that a dance over there. He must have gotten some magic. To deal with my dream art. It's through the glass. With the limited magic of the landscape. We have no chance of winning. In the battle of life and death. With two players of the same rank. That's the only way we can do it. Finished thinking, he took out of his chest an axon. On the outside, the two men knelt together. Are also using extremely fast speed to chase. Chasing to VI is not very different. The two of them were a bit surprised. Stop in front of them. A large area of the city. At this time, it was used to cover up. Two eyes squinted 72, reporting the SAO case. The devil next door is a little uncertain. But this scope is too big. He's got magic that creates SAO fog. Seriously, he replied that he was right. At this moment, a demon island is on its knees, suddenly speaking up. The old man and the old man went in the opposite direction. This is not the way to the Kier yard. Two people kneeling and serious. I was terrified to hear the devil remind me. They all stopped in the air. Strictly fast again. Deploy out how to dynamically observe. My knees also opened my eyes. After a while, they saw the academy where the Avalokitesvara was hiding. They've been gone, but the results are getting further and further away. Middle Devil glanced seriously. Hoa asked the devil hit the wall. Sao strictly replied, is the magic of the maze. This is the poison of the mountain. The middle first. This method has 3 effects. 1 is cognitive isolation. 2 is to confuse the sense of direction. But disorders the sense of time. Of those who entered the battle, on the other side of the city, the tiger has been reborn. I see the fog. LAN all over the city. He's a little bit of aesthetic fun. This fog is the Aries frequency releasing SAO. It's done a great job for us. While he stood there musing. Then, suddenly, he appeared next to me. The boat just landed. Speak up immediately. I found you, and you changed your position a lot. That's enough shoes for me. He turned his head and said to you in a loud voice. Suppose that we want. I saw the enemy's expression. In my heart, I'm laughing. He you have not always despised. SAO low world players. Eat the bitter fruit this time and go. He didn't steal for long either. Get straight to the point. The Lord told me to come to you. The plan has changed. You have to use the trump cards. When I recovered, I was surprised to ask again. That's not what I said. Wait for the old man to use that. It's a simple response to impermanence. We didn't expect it either. The barrier here is so big. Keep spending like this. Our victory will be less and less. Face in front of you. This is great. I will not use the sword. If you don't put enough pressure on the enemy. Return the sword of the master. Maybe you're waiting for the Lord to come down. To resist. SAO. When the tiger heard the enemy speak, he fell into meditation. After a while, he spoke up. We do it like out there. There was a martial artist who used the general to chasing. I don't want you to help me stop. He laughed coldly again. Wrestlers use magic, right? I have experience. Don't worry. Give him to me. The dance here has also entered the fog VI range. Watch for a moment. He recognized the nature of the fog. This fog can isolate SAO consciousness. This phase is difficult to solve. The old man with the beard and the old man knew the tricks of that man. They can't create magic like this against us. This fog, maybe it's because that accomplice of Luo Han arranged Ra. If it's him, he should use his methods against us. It's draining my gas. Even though SAO is the drought that we stifle in general terms. The only way to turn the tide is this. But think that. Maybe this can tie us up. It is so naive that the King of France supports the current. According to his voice. 2 shields appeared around 10 people. They're constantly spinning around him. It just blew away the fog in the neighborhood. They can protect around him. Avoid the enemy sneaking. And then there's the 100 soldiers dance. Let the sword appear around. It creates a layer of defense as well as a landscape. When he had arranged everything, he shouted. Even the tiger doesn't think that much. He has no intention, either, to use this fog to attack Australia. Move the scene to the frequency side. He just went inside. Then the god inside asked, why did you change the plan? Radio frequency quickly respond. Han Nam Dao appeared 2 players beyond the forecast. If we don't accelerate, the tiger won't last long. Don't get excited and take advantage of him. To stop the upper sword. When the idol is finished listening, speak up after a while. Maybe, but we still need some time on our side. After the conversation is over, go back to the ocean. Step outside. Look at the fog in front of him.